Chapter 1. Brooke. That will be all, unless you have any questions. So many, chief among them being, did I get the job? But I go with, when should I expect to hear back from you about this position? Vita James, Head of Human Resources, gives me a warm smile. That's a good sign, isn't it? Or not. Maybe she smiles extra warmly at the candidates that won't make the grade. Expect a call from me by end of business today, she says crisply. Then she stands, and so does everyone else in the room. Interview over. I do the shaking hands thing with them all, thanking them for their time, before I'm escorted out of the building by a brisk assistant. The pale blue print blouse I'm wearing sticks to the small of my back, and I'm sure I have sweat patches under my armpits, thankfully hidden under the navy blazer of my trouser suit. My heart still beats a painful staccato, which started ever since I entered this building some 2 hours ago. The interview itself didn't take that long, maybe 20 minutes at most. The rest of the time was spent touring the different departments at 𝐫𝐸𝐻, completing online tests, and waiting. Lots of waiting. The longer I waited, the more my nerves got the better of me. I could feel my cheeks heat up, and perspiration seep from every pore of my body. In desperation, I found the nearest loo, and, uncaring of the careful makeup I had applied that morning, doused my face in cold water, all the while repeating in a low voice, "You can do this. You can do this." I slipped back into the waiting room, just as my name was called. Now, I shiver slightly as I emerge into the breezy coolness of this February morning. Quickening my steps, I head towards the nearest tube station. No drone travel for the likes of me. There should still be enough time to get to 𝐻𝐿𝐴 Presence for the daily lunchtime yoga class I teach there, one of the 3 jobs I currently work. It's the one I enjoy the most. In the ambient serenity of the main studio, each day for an hour, I purge my mind of all stress, all worry, as I lead the class, stretching and holding poses, focusing on my breath and meditating. Then I work afternoons as a part-time librarian at a school a 5-minute walk from 𝐻𝐿𝐴 Presence. My day ends at the Sapphire Lounge, where my shift lasts from 5 till midnight. It's an exhausting routine, one I hope I won't have to continue for much longer, if I get this job. As I negotiate my way through the crowd on the busy pavement, my mind goes back to the interview, recalling my answers to the questions. Did I make a good impression? Perhaps I could have responded better to that query about compliance. I had prepared well, or so I had thought, practicing in my head potential scenarios, but I couldn't anticipate everything that came my way. I hope I did enough. Please, God, if you're out there listening, let this job be mine. It's within my grasp. I can feel it, and oh, the things it could mean for me. I don't ask for luxuries, just a little comfort and security, a small place I can call my own, maybe with a balcony, if I'm lucky. I've seen how the other half lives, and I want a small portion of that for me. Some might call it ambition, others having ideas above my station. A girl from the Badlands can only go so far. I beg to differ. This is London in the year 2099. On the cusp of the 3rd millennium, we're a divided society comprising the haves and have-nots, people like my mum and my grandparents before her. A whole substratum of society trapped in place, dependent on the basic necessities offered by the state. I'm determined not to be one of them. 6 years ago, I left the relative safety of the tiny public apartment I grew up in and came to the big city. It was a risk I knew I had to take. I've worked multiple jobs and kept my ear to the ground for new opportunities, which is how I heard about this opening at 𝐫𝐸𝐻. It was a long shot. I'm sure thousands have applied for a chance to get their foot through the door. I didn't let myself hope. Then, by some miracle, I made it through to the interview stage, and now I can't help but hope. Will I get the job? Patience, Brooke. By the end of business today, you'll know for sure. Overhead, the sky hums with the sound of drones zipping to and fro 100 feet up in the air, forming a secondary lane of traffic above the still busy roads. One of them lands on a parking bay beside me on the pavement, and a smartly dressed man jumps out, speaking into his communicator. He walks past, jostling my elbow in his haste to get through to the building I have just come out of. A 𝐰𝐻𝐾 employee? From the cut of his clothes and his confident manner, I would guess it's someone high up the chain. Briefly, he looks back and casts me an absent-minded apology. In that instant, my attention is caught by the searing stare of his darkly lashed hazel eyes, vivid against the tan of his skin. A moment later, he's hurrying on his way, and I resume my walk, huffing to myself. That was one seriously hot guy. Shame he's probably an entitled arsehole. I know the type well. I've dealt with my fair share of such men working at the Sapphire Lounge. I can't help but smile, though. At least he's managed to distract me from thoughts about the job. The rest of the day flies by, and it's only late in the afternoon, after my shift in the school library, that I get a chance to check my communicator. There's a video message from Vita James. I play it, seeing her smile warmly at me. "Brooke," she says, "good news. We'd like to make you an offer."
Chapter 2. Zaine. I savour the coffee, made by my own hands, the beans roasted to perfection and freshly ground in the little kitchen bar I've incorporated into my office. That first shot of aromatic caffeine is a slice of heaven. So good. If I'm ever shipwrecked on a desert island, that's the first thing I would miss. That and my trusty communicator. "Athena," I say, addressing the computer's interface, "give me details of my schedule this afternoon and evening." "Of course, Zaine," she replies in a warm, Jamaican-sounding tone, a nod to my ancestry on the maternal side. "You have a meeting with the heads of department from 2 to 3 p.m. for a review of the numbers for the first quarter of the year. Please check your inbox for the report with the latest figures. At 3:15 you are required in the publicity department to say farewell to Bryce Adams, who is leaving us after 5 years of service. You are to present him with a card and the gift which has been left on the shelving unit by the kitchen bar. Do you see it?" I cast a glance across my office towards the floor-to-ceiling shelving unit that straddles an entire wall beside the kitchen area and spy a gaily wrapped box on the third shelf. "I see it," I confirm. "Would you like me to prepare a short speech for you?" "No," I reply. "Just send me any relevant information and I'll wing it from there. What else?" "Noted," replies Athena. "From 4 to 5:30 you have calls scheduled with Shushan Long and Zara Khan to go over the latest upgrades to the designs for the Z300 shuttle." "Have they sent over the schematics?" I ask impatiently. "Not yet. Shall I follow up with them?" "Please do," I grit. "I need those schematics within the hour." "Reminder sent," responds Athena. After a pause, she continues, "You have a meeting with Tobias Moore at the Sapphire Lounge at 6 p.m., then a dinner reservation for 2 at the Golden Grape." "Remind me, Athena," I ask, "who's my date tonight?" Life has been so much easier since I outsourced my personal calendar to Athena. There's no shortage of gorgeous, intelligent, and interesting women in this city, and I'm fortunate enough to be invited to the social functions where I'm most likely to meet them. And whenever I do meet a lady that lights a spark in me, I make sure to log the info with Athena, who acts as an intermediary, arranging dates for me, whether I'm here in London or away on business in any part of the globe. Looking at it from the outside, this system might seem impersonal and verging on the cynical, but for a busy person like me, it works well. I actually think it's a very honest and straightforward way to go about it. Better than those old dating apps where you swiped left or right. I like to keep my personal life uncomplicated. I have complications enough running my business. I huff to myself and take another invigorating drink of my coffee. Maybe one day I'll give in to Mum's unsubtle hints about settling down. One day, maybe. But not now. Athena's honey-warm voice speaks again through my communicator. You have a date with Ariana Foster tonight. Ah, yes, now I remember. Zaine, the schematics have come true. Should I display them for you? Yes, thanks. My pleasure, Zaine. I push away the moment of introspection and get back to work. Late that afternoon, I get into my drone for the short flight to Soho, where the Sapphire Lounge is located. I'm meeting Tobias Moore, the elusive trillionaire who seems to have the magic touch when it comes to business. He's in town for a short working visit, and I've managed to nab myself a meeting with him. To say that he's a competitor of mine might be stretching the truth a little. There are overlaps in our businesses, that's true, with us both being in the tech and aerospace industry, but whereas my prime product is a shuttle, the Z200, which already has the dominant share in the Earth-to-Mars travel market, Moore is investing in larger spaceships for long-haul travel to the outer reaches of the galaxy, where the planets Ven, Driskir, and Croatia are located. Now that we've made contact with the alien races on these planets, there's an increased demand for ships that can travel a longer distance and reach places humans have never been to before. And Tobias Moore is at the forefront of that effort. I've no wish to tread on his toes. I'm happy to keep my focus on spaceflight within our solar system, not just to Mars and the Moon, but also to develop scenic tours to Jupiter, which I'm hoping my new prototype, the Z300 shuttle, will be capable of doing. However, that doesn't mean we can't find ways to cooperate. There is one thing in particular that I want from him. Hence this meeting. Through the grapevine, I've found out that 2 of the Venorians that are coming to Earth on the forthcoming exchange program will be placed with his companies. The lucky bastard. Though I would hazard a guess that luck has nothing to do with it. I've also learned that one of these Venorians, a male by the name of Pravol, is a commander in their space fleet, and the other Venorian, named Shuban, is a leading aeronautics engineer. The knowledge these 2 aliens must pack between them is invaluable. I want in on it. The drone lands, and glancing at the time dial on my communicator, I see it's 5:59. Right on time. I hop out and go to the blue-painted door, discreetly marked with the Sapphire Lounge logo. I hold my communicator up to the panel, and within moments the door slides open. I walk into a subtly lit interior, where an attendant bot is at the ready to take my coat. I'm then directed towards the reception booth, from where a host, wearing a sapphire-coloured sarong around her trim waist, coupled with a halter-neck bra top in the same colour, approaches me. "Mr. Blackwell," she says, "welcome to the Sapphire Lounge. I'm Brooke, your host tonight, here to ensure you have an enjoyable evening with us." She brings out a communicator with the Sapphire Lounge logo on it and holds it towards me. "May I?" I nod and bring out my own communicator for a handshake. A moment later, an avatar of a female in a blue sarong appears on my screen under the name Brooke. She smiles. "Please do not hesitate to tap me, should you need anything at all." "Thank you, Brooke," I say. "Is Tobias Moore arrived yet?" "Yes, he got here a few minutes ago. Let me take you through to your table." I follow her to a set of double doors, which slide open at our approach, leading to a large space decorated with realistic-looking palms, their green fronds waving gently in the sea-infused breeze. It's an artificial simulation, but so well executed that one could almost believe we're on a Polynesian island rather than in the heart of Soho. Interspersed around the room are discreetly placed booths, affording their occupants a high degree of privacy. For those that wish to mingle, I see a bar area further along, where an eclectic mix of people mill around, exotic-looking cocktails in hand. Brooke leads me away from the bar to a private booth in the far corner. Just before we reach it, I stop her with a soft call of her name. She turns to me inquiringly, and something about her expression seems vaguely familiar. I study her features. Almond brown eyes and pleasing cheekbones leading down to very kissable lips, then briefly move my gaze down to her slim, subtly curved figure. I can't place where I've seen her before, though surely I should remember. It's my first time at the Sapphire Lounge, but maybe she's been my host at another venue in the past. I give a mental shrug and bring my focus back to the matter at hand. "Brooke," I say, "there's one thing I'd like to request. I have important and confidential matters to discuss with Mr. Moore, and would like us not to be disturbed by anyone at any time. Can I rely on your discretion?" "Mr. Moore asked me the same thing 10 minutes ago." She smiles mischievously. "I'm beginning to think the two of you might have something interesting to discuss." I'm momentarily distracted by the small dimple that appeared in her cheeks as she smiled. I feel a mad urge to make her smile again, so I can catch sight of it once more. Instead, I clench my jaw and repeat the question. "Your discretion, Brooke?" She inclines her head. "Of course, Mr. Blackwell. I'll leave you undisturbed and make sure to send a message before the drinks arrive. I'll also have your booth flagged as non-interruption for all staff and service bots." Eyes sparkling, she adds, "That way, nobody accidentally walks in halfway through your important negotiation." I stare a moment too long. Then I shake off the distracting thoughts and focus on business. "Good," I reply, dismissing her with a brisk nod and turning to approach the booth, where I can see Tobias Moore sitting, his head bent over his communicator. He looks up and sees me. "Zaine, good to see you," he says, rising to his feet. "And you," I smile, sliding into the seat opposite him. "It's been a while. The G9 summit last year, I believe," he states in an even tone. "That long?" I blow out a breath. "I guess we've both been keeping busy." "There is never a time when I'm not busy," he replies, regarding me inscrutably. The man has always been hard to read. I huff out a laugh. That is true. I pick up the menu tablet and scroll through the list of cocktails, beers, and wines on offer, then tap my selection. All the while, I can feel Tobias's penetrating stare on me. Once I put the tablet down, he speaks. "Seeing as I am a busy man, as are you, let's get down to business. Tell me, Zaine, why did you ask for this meeting?" I had hoped to mellow him out with a few drinks before getting to the nitty-gritty, but I should have known that's not his style. Girding my loins, I direct an equally hard stare in his direction. "The Venorians," I state. "Ha!" he snorts, his grey eyes gleaming with amusement. "Get in line, Zaine. I was in China not too long ago, and recall having a similar conversation with the people at 𝐿𝐻𝐻 and Polydor. My answer to them as to you will be much the same." I sidestep that roadblock and press on. "You'll be hosting Pravel and Shuban for 6 months. All I'm asking for is 1 week of their time with my engineers to review the schematics for the Z300. In exchange, I have information which may be of interest to you." "You'll have to be more specific," he responds dryly. "Specifically," I drawl, "I have information about possible reserves of duranium right here on Earth." Duranium is a hitherto unknown mineral which, we've discovered, is used by the Venorians and other alien races to power their spaceships, allowing them to travel far greater distances than we have ever been able to, something we're keen to change. "You have a trusted source for this intel?" I incline my head. As he considers the matter, I hear my communicator buzz with a message. "Brooke, your host tonight. Mr. Blackwell, your drinks are on the way." I crane my neck to the side to see that, indeed, Brooke is sashaying towards us from the bar, carrying a tray with my vodka and lime and what looks to be a craft beer for Tobias. He follows my look and maintains his silence as she reaches us and places the drinks on our table with practiced ease, then beats a hasty retreat, following my instructions to the letter. I make a mental note to leave her a generous tip at the end of the evening. Once we're alone again, Tobias continues the conversation as if there had been no interruption. "I'll allow you 3 days, which should be more than sufficient for Praval and Schumann to go over your schematics," he declares. 3 days is what I had been aiming for all along, but I make a show of thinking it over. Finally, I say, "We have a deal." Picking up my communicator, I send him the information I have about the Durenium. He opens the file I sent, perusing it with a frown, then lifts a quizzical brow. "Alaska?" I shrug. "So I'm told." "This should prove interesting," he says, quirking his lips. "Thanks, Zaine. As ever, it's good to do business with you." "Likewise, Tobias. Likewise." He drains his drink, then stands, clapping me on the shoulder. "Take care, and good luck with the new prototype." Without another word, he walks away. I stay behind, nursing my own drink, a sense of satisfaction pumping through my veins. Mission accomplished. I tap my communicator to summon Brooke. In less than a minute, she's at my side. I give her a warm smile. "Thank you, Brooke, for the excellent service tonight. Is a token of my appreciation." I tap my communicator, transmitting a hefty tip. Her eyes widen as she sees the amount I've just sent her. "Oh," she mumbles. "That's very generous, Mr. Blackwell. Thank you." "Call me Zaine." I grin, not sure why I feel a sudden urge to flirt. I'm not in the habit of hitting on hosts at bars and restaurants. And lest I forget, I already have a date for dinner tonight. "Thank you, Zaine," she says, a trifle hesitantly. "Can I get you anything else?" "No, that's all, thanks. Can you bill me and summon a drone?" "Of course. Consider it done." I smile as I get up. "The gents?" I inquire. She points towards the opposite corner. "Go straight that way," she says. "When you get to the end, follow the corridor to your right." "Thanks." I pause, taking her in once more. She looks neat and tidy, brown hair cut short, more for convenience, I suspect, than fashion. Her figure lean and toned, yet also curvy in the right places. Not my usual type, but I can't seem to stop checking her out. My eyes trace over smooth olive skin that looks temptingly soft. There is a spark of quick intelligence in her eyes. And that dimple. I should leave well alone. I go with my gut instead. "Brooke, I'd like to know you better. Would you go out on a date with me?" "Oh." She looks taken aback, my words unexpected. To be fair, it's not my usual MO either, but I like to follow my instincts. Others might hesitate. Not me. It's how I got to where I am by age 33. I detect a brief flash of pleasure in her eyes. Then they grow hooded, even a little troubled. She gathers herself up to say, "Thank you, Zaine. I'm flattered, but I must decline." Playing coy? No, I don't believe so. In any case, no means no. And yet, I stare at her, about to argue my case, that same gut instinct telling me not to let it go. It's then I suddenly remember where I've seen this girl before. Only this morning, I bumped into her outside the front doors of Zytec. I had seen her emerge from the building through the window of my drone as it landed. She had been dressed differently, in a businesslike navy suit, which explains why I had not at first put two and two together. What had she been doing there? Could she be a junior employee, one who also moonlights as a host at this bar? If so, I should have words with HR about it. Or was she interviewing for a position? Attending a meeting in one of the departments, perhaps? I tighten my jaw. Whatever the case may be, I see now it was a wrong move to ask her out. Instead of a reply, I nod a brisk farewell, then head over to the gents. A short while later, I'm stepping out of the Sapphire Lounge and into my waiting drone on my way to the dinner date with Ariana Foster. I'm not feeling much in the mood for it, my earlier bout of satisfaction having quickly dissipated. No prizes for guessing why. I snort in self-derision, then take a breath and try to shake it off. But once up in the air, I speak to my ever-helpful app. Athena, find out if there is anyone by the name of Brooke who works at Zytec, or who has recently applied to work there. It doesn't take long for Athena to respond. Zaine, there is a Brooke Romero who has recently been offered a position in your publicity department. She starts her employment at Zytec a week from today. Well, damn.